All right, ladies and gentlemen of the internet, we are going to do an experiment with a new camera. It's not the best camera, it's not a GoPro, but it's a go-go. How's that? It works. So I don't know how much battery I'm going to have. I don't know how good the quality of this will be. I don't know how shaky this will be. I don't know how the audio will be. We shall find out together. But I just wanted to make some commentary. And I don't like selfie streamers. My last woods walk here was earlier in the summer. I've actually walked 3 times through here since then, but I didn't record it. But this should give me over 6 hours of recording time, which will be plenty. So you'll get to see what I see walking through the woods. This is Thorn Crag Bird Sanctuary in Lewiston, Maine, owned by the Stanton Bird Club, I believe. I think I have that right. It's for the public to use. This is where, if you've seen previous videos, I have recorded plenty of deer through here, even a baby deer, which actually I think I need to upload that video. But anyways, what do we have to talk about today with guns? Oh my God, all kinds of stuff. We have the assault rifle ban in California turned over, but that's on appeal by the 9th Circuit, which they'll overturn that. But it's these steps that are needed to get to the Supreme Court. And let me skip through this. Oh, I gotta go underneath logs, over logs. And so anyway, that decision in California by a federal judge was based on the Bruin decision, which you should be familiar with, from New York, where New York said you couldn't carry a firearm, and the Supreme Court said you can, infringing on Second Amendment rights to protect yourself. So anyway, that being said, another log to go over here, and I really do hope this looks okay at home. I guess we'll find out. So anyway, we'll see where that goes. But the big news is I am in Lewiston, Maine, and yes, I live very close to the Just-in-Time Bowling Alley Recreation Center. It used to be called Spare Time Recreation, and they have a policy there where no firearms are allowed on premises. Maine is a constitutional carry state, and firearms are legal. And the shooter knew that, because he frequented that establishment with a former girlfriend of his, and he knew that. So let me look up this way. I think I will go down this way. And now that it is a high temperature of 40 degrees, which we're going to be getting snow soon at some point, we have a lot of people not using this now. So now I can walk in peace and quiet. But anyway, back to the shooting in Lewiston. I was at home, and I was left sitting in my kitchen with an emergency lockdown notification on my phone telling me there was an active shooter, to lock my doors and stay indoors, which is what you should do. So I took out the AK-47, several 30-round magazines. I also took out my Ruger Mini 14 and 5.56 and sat in my kitchen in the dark. I turned the lights off because you don't want to be sitting as a lit target at night inside your home And I even closed my laptop, and I used my iPad and my cell phone with my earpiece in. I even had my shooting glasses on because I use magnifiers because I'm 55. I use reading glasses to see my front sights, and also so the red dot won't be funny or fuzzy as we tread through the woods in Maine. And so I sat there for a few hours keeping up on the news. I went to Facebook on the Lewiston Police Department and also the Lewiston Sun-Journal newspaper, which is a biased, propagandist, leftist newspaper. No shocker. And got my information. They did a lot of live streaming of the police department, strapping on their tech gear and quote unquote assault rifles, weapons of war that we're not supposed to own if you're a Democrat, but we do. So that brings me to a lot of things I'm going to talk about. One, he goes into this establishment, and I'm not quite sure what he used from the still I saw, but the police did find where they found his abandoned vehicle at a boat launch in Lisbon, which is a 2013 white Subaru Outback. They found one of his rifles, which was the AR-10. So that wasn't an AR-15, and the difference being probably a different, more powerful caliber. And the AR-15 was found, which was a Ruger M&P 15, was found with him behind the recycling facility by the town dump, where he was formerly employed and was fired. And he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, which is why I didn't pay too much attention to the shelter-in-place order that lasted for 2 days, because I already knew that. These people always kill themselves. They never go back and cause more problems. So anyway, he used an A-10 or the AR-15. I'm not sure what he used for the shooting. They're still doing ballistics. He might have used two different rifles at two different locations, which the other one was Schmenge's Bar and Grill, which everybody online has been pronouncing it incorrectly. It's not Smengi or Smengi. It's Smenge's. Schmengi. So, I guess anything works, depending on your dialect. But anyway, that being said, oh, it is pretty today. We just had 2 days of soaking rain, and the sun is out, and look how gorgeous that is. Wow. Maine is beautiful. My goodness. I'm sure this looks better in person, but I bet that don't look too bad either. I'll see you later. So, we had Schmenge's that got shot up, and good people died in that. So, well, it's a terrible thing, and I'm not belittling anything that happened, but a lot is going to result from this shooting, and we need to talk about it. Oh, there's a chipmunk. Hi. Hi, little buddy. He's checking me out. Yeah, go ahead, cross the road. Oh, he's peeking, looking at me. Well, that was cool. So anyway, it's the manager of Schmenge's was killed, Mr. Walker. Good guy. People that knew him, you know, say he was a nice guy. Raised a lot of money for charity. He raised money for people that needed cancer treatment, didn't have the money. He was always doing something. And he gave himself selflessly by attacking the shooter that's holding a rifle, while all he had was a knife. And he did what he could and paid for it with his life, none begrudgingly. That's the kind of person he was. And those are the kind of stories I'm glad the media paid attention to. So, you know, he commits this shooting. Now, there were 2 eyewitness reports. It hasn't been confirmed by the investigation yet, but I'm sure it will be, that he had a gun malfunction while he was shooting inside the bowling alley, his first location. Which, I got to reiterate, I'm from Lewiston. I want to get back to, I was under lockdown. I was sitting in my kitchen in the dark, helicopters circling overhead. This guy could have been anywhere. He could have tried to kick my door in for all I know. It's only about a mile, maybe a mile and a quarter from the bowling alley. I walk by it sometimes on my walks. So it was close. And it was heart-wrenching. But we got to move on. So anyway, enough about me. Going up this incline. This is a lot of work. Sorry if I'm huffing and puffing in your ear. But anyway, he leaves Schmenge's. He was spotted near the Walmart distribution center, his vehicle. And him, he was identified, I guess by security there. He was probably going to stop in there and do a shooting. We haven't seen the full report on that yet either. Just that Walmart has said there was no shooting there. So, whew. So, there's that. And, well, he ended up going to that boat launch, was about a mile from there. That's where they found his vehicle. So they didn't know where his vehicle was. So the obvious thing was to search the woods, keep searching in the towns. And we all remember that little terrorist Boston Marathon sucker there in Boston. They found him hiding in a boat. I think it was him. So anyway, they had to do a methodical shed-by-shed search, knocking on doors, and hats off to the police. They did a great job. Now, you had a shelter in place, so the recycling facility was closed. And it took a while before people searched there. He would have been found the next day, easy. People would have been working. But they shut it down, which is good. It's the right thing to do. So anyway, long story even longer, they finally found him. Everybody can relax and sleep at night now. I put the weapons away, except for my usual suspects, kept out in case of home invasion, etc. But it's one of those things, man, where these people are crazy. This guy had mental health issues. And there's a lot of stuff online about the fed op, false flag. Just forget about all that stupidity. And that's what it is. This guy has a history. Everybody knew it. Nothing was a mystery. So just relax. Sometimes in the real world, some people just go crazy and kill people. It just happens a lot more now. I have a theory on that related to pharmaceutical psych medication reactions and the lack of follow-up care by physicians that prescribe it, which is probably more the culprit than firearms are. So, All right, we have this mass shooting, it gets resolved, and now we have to deal with the aftermath, which is da da da, dramatic pause, gun control. We gotta ban the AR-15 because AR-15s do all of the shooting. Even though the FBI stats say 90% of mass shootings, and this is an actual stat. So if anybody from YouTube wants to mark my channel as misinformation, they can go to the FBI website and see that 90% of mass shooters also have a firearm that is a handgun. So they either use it or they have it as backup. Which means if you ban the AR-15, they're just going to use a handgun. Everybody that knows how to shoot knows that if you have a 10-round magazine, they don't really mean a screw-all difference other than a fraction of a split second to drop a mag and pop in another one. These Democrats like to feel safe and consider, well, there's less bullets in it, it's less dangerous. And that is just complete moronic ignorance. There's plenty of videos online showing otherwise, done by trained professionals, sheriffs and deputies, demonstrating that. But anyway, back to our little gun control story. So, our wonderful Democrat congressman here, Jared Golden. All right, he's a piece of work. He ran on not being Pelosi's puppet. He won a red district. He's pro-gun. He's pro-Second Amendment. He says background checks are already good enough. So every bit of Democrat legislation introduced over the last 4 or 5 years that he's been there has been, he's the only one that has voted against it. The only Democrat, a lot of times when they have a vote, it'll be the one single vote against gun control and measures like that. So what does he do? He issues a statement that I got in an email yesterday and also saw in the local news that he is doing a 180 on that. He wants to support legislation and have AR-15s banned sometime between now and whenever he's done in Congress. So there's that. So if you're from Maine and you were voting for Jared Golden because he lets you keep your guns and says he doesn't support Pelosi, then turns around and supports the stuff Pelosi supported, then don't vote for him. That's really a simple fix. So this is a fireplace here, and I love the inscription on here. And it says, "Kneel always when you light a fire. Kneel reverently, and grateful be to God for his unfailing charity." So, pretty cool monument here, even though fires are not allowed. They have like 3 fireplaces here, so I haven't figured that out yet. So anyways, it's a little place you can sit down, enjoy life, contemplate the madness, and discuss lunatics in the sunshine in Maine about mass shootings, killings, and all kinds of other lunacy. So anyway, I want to get back to the bowling alley and the 2 witnesses. Whoops, I gotta go this way. I don't want to get lost in the woods. So, 2 eyewitnesses, which this has not been fully released by the police yet, but 2 witnesses have stated that he had a difficult time operating his weapon, and that's why he left before he killed everybody. So he had a weapons malfunction. And the peculiar thing about that is he is a weapons or a gun instructor, according to his bio and what other people have stated. In fact, an off-duty police officer knew the guy, and he's the one that informed his commander that he knows the guy and he has night vision, night scope, on the rifle that he went into the bowling alley that was on the pictures, the photographs. He actually had seen that weapon in person. So this is news that you're getting from somebody that lives here, as opposed to the national media narrative of we have to ban AR-15s to defund the gun lobby because it's the #1 selling rifle in America. And if we defund the gun lobby, we defund Republicans, which we already outspend 4-to-1 or 5-to-1, which I've said in a previous video. See, another fireplace. Looks like somebody broke the rules and lit a fire. So anyway, now we're going to go over here, because there's a monument. And I had always said I was going to come here and film this in the fall when it looks pretty. I missed the peak leaf season though. That was a few days ago. It was absolutely beautiful. Now everything is turning to that yellow from the orange, and the leaves will fall off. And we have Gordon Joseph Soucy, 1957 to 2006. Not bad. Not the best. But hey, there's a little rock to sit on where you can look out and view the landscape. Have a quiet moment. So anyway, this guy was a firearms instructor, and to have his gun jam where he couldn't free the malfunction tells me that there was a actual rifle malfunction. Now, guys watching, guys and ladies, and whatever else you are watching this channel, have to understand that you probably are thinking the same thing I am, if you know anything about firearms or have shot a lot of them, that in AR format he might have been using steel case ammo, and you might have had one of those cases split or expand and get stuck in the chamber. And the popular argument seems to be that there was lacquer and it probably melted and welded itself into the chamber, which used to happen with surplus ammunition like 7.62 by 39 and stuff like that. But most of the modern Russian steel case is polymer coated now, unless you get the old surplus. And they lacquer coated it to waterproof it for long-term storage, which it did a good job for that. But anyways, back to our wonderful little story. He had a jam, allegedly, and left the bowling alley. And then he headed over to Schmenge's. So they did find 2 rifles, and I'm waiting for the report to see if one of them was actually had a casing stuck in chamber, which I'm guessing that's what they're going to say. We'll see. But hopefully that makes sense to everybody. We don't know what happened. He might have had a round that was charged a little extra with powder and blew up his chamber. We don't have any video to look at. We just have stills. So anyway, I guess they learned their lesson with the transgender shooter that shot up a Texas Christian school. And that was on video, and it circled its way around, and that's up for debate on whether or not that's too graphic to show. Personally, I don't think so. You could censor it with a blurry thing. But I just wanted to see what happened to that rifle. Anyway, now we're going on with the weapons used, which have been verified now. So to recap, they found his AR-10 inside the Subaru Outback. He left it there, which tends to tell me that maybe that's the one that malfunctioned, and it was no longer useful, so he left it. And then he went up a half mile or a mile up the road to where he used to work, where he ended his life, and they found the AR rifle. No report if that was functioning. So anyway, that's my discussions on that. The governor of Maine was a Democrat who previously has resisted any gun banning because Maine is a rural state, and if you ban guns like that here, you're going to lose votes, whether you're a Democrat or not. And that's what I was explaining to you guys in my last video on the Woods Walk, is that we had 15 anti-gun measures. There was a couple of pro-gun measures where they wanted guns in schools, and the Republicans did, for children's safety, because it's common sense. I'm not going to get into that whole thing again. But that was defeated by a Democrat-led legislature, Democrat-led Senate, and a Democrat governor. All 15 anti-gun measures failed by a slim margin, but they failed. So Democrats are afraid to touch the gun subject here because it'll cost them votes. So for Jared Golden, the congressman in D.C., from this district, which, by the way, this county is a county second most populated. Trump won this county. The first Republican to do so since Ronald Reagan. But, you know, that's a fact. He didn't do well against Hillary, but I guess people live and they learn, don't they? So anyway, Maine elections are fair, by the way. We don't use the electronic voting, and we don't use mail-in voting. We use absentee voting ballots, where you have to prove who you are and your residency. And if you've never voted before, when you register, you have to provide a bill that was sent to your address and your name, an ID to register. And so the elections, I am pretty confident, are fair here. So anyway, that being said, Jared Golden has flip-flopped on his gun stance, and everybody in Maine should know it, especially when it comes next to go vote for him in 2024, that he should be removed from his seat for that, because Mainers aren't going to put up with that crap. That's just not going to happen. So anyway, if you have any comments on the shooting in Lewiston or questions, I'll try to answer them. A lot of people have questions, like they've heard reports online that were just scanner radio, police radio talk. It turned out to be nothing, but they end up turning into internet rumor, and that is just how the internet works. A lot of the times it's false, but it seems plausible. And so, that being said, we'll talk a little bit more as I walk through here and just finish up walking through this whole thing. It's a very nice place here. I'll find something to talk about. And I know it's going to be a long video and it's going to bore everybody to death. But I have wanted to see how big a video I could make and how much of a trouble it would be, if it'd be worth it just a live stream or upload. And it'd probably be better to live stream, but I'm going to learn my lesson. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop this and start a part 2. So if you don't see any more video after this, that means I uploaded part 2 somewhere. So check that out. And thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, liking my videos. I'm not monetized, and I just want to thank you very much.